Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Nemesis Prime, Milton the Manimal, back for Season 2, Episode 43 of the Comic-Con podcast. We're recording this on November the 3rd. We have hit November. God damn, we have gone through a long year, right, man?
Dude, I mean, the year's cruising through. It feels like there's been pockets of the year that were slow as hell, and then I feel like it was just a week ago, it was August. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like August, September, October, and now we're already in November. And now it's like, God damn, man, we're like 3 weeks. It feels like barely Christmas is right around the corner.
Yeah, October usually flies through, like, my radar between, like, New York Comic-Con, birthday, anniversary, and then, like, Baltimore this year. Like,
right.
I swear to God, like, it was literally a month ago it was New York, but it literally feels like 2 weeks, like literally a week and a half ago. But it's just wild. So,
yeah.
But of course, we like to talk about things here on the podcast. We appreciate all of our new listeners, some new people. If you're just checking in, that I met down in Baltimore. We're going to be talking about Baltimore Comic-Con. So if anybody's picking up, just listening to us for the first time, make sure you can find us, of course, anywhere: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and Amazon Music. You could always send us Instagram messages. That's what we like about our community, is we could always send us either to Milton the Manimal, Nemesis Prime, or the Comic-Con Podcast. Instagram, you could always email us at the Comic-Con Podcast at gmail.com as well. Voicemails, hate mail, whatever you want. So
bring it.
Yes, we like that. So let's kind of get right into our community section. So no messages this week, but of course, big community event last weekend. I went to the Baltimore Comic-Con. That was my third time going down in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Baltimore Convention Center.
Yeah.
First time they had it last year after COVID. Last time I was down there was 2019. Obviously 2020 they didn't have it. 2021 they did, but I didn't go. Baltimore's an absolute shit show. I'm sorry if you live in that area, but I'm sure if you live in that area, you also know about that. So, I think I saw more rats on the street hanging out than I've ever seen in New York. I swear to God.
Oh, dude, that's crazy.
It was, so bad.
I was in DC in May, and in different parts of like downtown DC and whatnot. There was a shit ton of rats there also. It was disgusting. And it was like I noticed them as I was coming out of like a restaurant. So I was like, oh, that's great. Those rats probably live in that fucking restaurant.
Oh man. We were at a bar. It was me, Binky's Comic Man Andy and his wife, and they're just running around. They're just running down the street. And then like later on in the night, there was like another bar right by us. Same thing. It's just like, they're all just fighting. They're all just fighting for food, running by us. They don't care. People
so
are just like, whatever.
It's like our world then, pretty much.
Yeah. Fighting for comics, fighting for exclusives, But the show itself, man, it is an absolute great show, for the simple fact is it's comic book related. It's all comic books. There's no big manga. There's no big anime. There's no big retailers. Like if you obviously, going to New York Comic-Con and going to Baltimore Comic-Con, you see the difference. Like the booths are small. They're there. The vendors are there to sell. They're not there to like promote anything. Yes, you get some of the comic book publishers that are there, but nothing like New York Comic-Con. Like you didn't have like a giant One Piece or Dragon Ball Z or anything anime related. You didn't have like a giant booth for, obviously, Whatnot wasn't there, Marvel, DC, any of that stuff. It's literally there. It's perfect. Artist Alley is very spacious. They do bring some nice artists, some writers. They had, voice actresses, some of the Disney princesses, which I liked. I wish I would have brought some stuff to get signed, but I didn't. But the community, man, it was great, man. I got to meet so many people that I never met before, people that I've known through YouTube, and whatnot, finally getting to meet up with them. So that was, an absolute blast down there.
Was it, would you say, like size wise, is it bigger or smaller than Terrificon?
It's probably smaller. I don't know. No, it's definitely on scale. It's about the same.
Okay.
Because the thing is, like with the Terrificon, like people are just in that hotel, and then, you can kind of just, you go and you walk in.
Right.
But it's, as far as like the con floor itself, it's definitely smaller than, or no, I should say that Terrificon's smaller, because obviously, Terrificon, it's literally just a long row and it's wide. But with the way the Baltimore setup is, it's very wide and it's very long. So the way it's set up is like they have all the vendors in the front, and then there's a back section for Artist Alley, and then even there's a side section for Artist Alley, which is nice because they have like some of the, I would say, the bigger names on the one side, just for obviously line purposes, because they know like when the lines start up, it's going to be crazy, and you don't want to be blocking other artists and writers' lines, stuff like that. So that's really, I get that. That's important, especially for, walking around the con. But man, there were so many people. It was so much fun. All the guys and girls over at Shortbox. Anthony from Bird City was there. They were selling some of their exclusives, of course. Jeff Binkies. You got Drew from Wanted Comics was there. There was so many people to be had, and the afterlife is so much fun. Of course, hanging out with our friend Matt, ex Last Level Comics, and his wife. We went down to, if you know the Baltimore area, we went to Phelps Point. That's like the college area. Okay. For people here in like New Jersey, I guess that would be like the Hoboken, Jersey City vibe. Basically, it's like it's a college town-esque. That's like where basically all the college people go. There's like restaurants, there's bars. You just hop from one place to the next. So really dope. And then again, there's deals to be had. You didn't see the crazy prices like New York was. There was some dealers that I feel like had higher prices, but the one problem I feel like at Baltimore, and I'm not sure if it was like this it definitely wasn't like this at New York, but like I go in on Friday, and there was like these one booth that had prices that were like, let's say like $15 for a book. And I'm like, this book isn't $15. And then literally the next day when you're walking through the same booth and you're looking at stuff, maybe on a different, the guy's like, oh, all this is 50% off. And I'm like, okay. So now it immediately went from 15 to 750, but I'm still not like a $750 book or $8 book. Right.
Right. So
I didn't go on Sunday because I came home on Saturday, but I can imagine, hey, well, what did Sunday bring? Was Sunday like 75% off, or was it still 50% off? But it's, just price accordingly. I feel like if you just priced accordingly, you could move your books. Like that's the one thing that, you and I know Gary, like very Gary, like his prices are
to move.
Great. Yeah. Like he's not dropping prices every day. Like his prices he prices stuff to move, not to like sit there. So then like if you're not trying to make the high end sales on Friday, and then it's like, all right, well, if I didn't make sales on Friday, let me start doing like 25, 50% off like the next couple days. And maybe then I'll get some traction. Like if you just have your books priced, you'll move stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess both strategies work, it also depends on, I guess, what you have, like you said, Gary's are priced well, right? Day one. And then some other places, like, I mean, I remember at Terrificon, there was days, it was like day 2, and these guys were like, yo, 50% off everything. Like, oh shit, okay. 50% off everything. Like, that was wild. Day 2, bro. You got to get home sooner. So I don't understand what's happening. But
well, some people don't even want to leave with stuff. Like you could tell.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to pack shit out.
You could tell some of the booths that are like small, that maybe just have like maybe like a 6 or 8 foot table there, or maybe a little bit bigger than like a normal size booth. They're trying to get rid of everything. Like they want to be cleaned out by Friday. They want to have like no inventory.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, that's the game, right?
Yeah. Sunday would have been great for me just to like clean up on stuff, but I already spent a lot of money Friday and Saturday. I got 2 sketches from Trish Faulkner, of course, Stray Dogs fame, and just some other little things that I bought over there as well, traded, sold some stuff. So, if I would have, and again, it was like right after New York, so I really wasn't planning on going to Baltimore, but it was like a last minute, invite, and luckily I was able to room with people, and that's why I only stayed 2 days and not 3, because I would have no money. And then speaking of shows, this upcoming weekend here in New Jersey, there's the Super Jersey Comic Expo, which I'm debating about going. It's a 1-day show, but it's fun because it's a lot of people in the community. So, I guess we'll see what happens from there. So, but Baltimore is a great time. If you ever get a chance, who's never been to it, if you've been on the East Coast or anywhere else, it's fun. Fly out. The Inner Harbor is great. A lot of places to go, a lot of places to eat for sure. Again, you just don't go far from the Inner Harbor. So maybe next year, Zach, you'll be there. And
yeah, we've been talking about it a lot, and there's a chance I might be living out there in the DC area next year sometime. So I'm looking forward to joining you on a bunch of these little East Coast cons and really running up and down the coast for sure. So
yeah, going to be a good time. So again, Baltimore Comic-Con 2023.
Nice,
fun.
Dude. Yeah, looked like a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Can't complain about really anything. Like everything was smooth. Like it wasn't like New York. It's not an absolute shit show like New York was. things work well. It's just buying and selling books. That's all it is. There's no, travesties. There's literally not even like exclusives. Like there's no variants over there. I think like a few people had variants, but it's not like people are running and like the door's open and it's not like rushing to like somebody, right?
Yeah.
It's, some people waited a good long while for Luis and Walt Simonson. Like they opened the doors at like 10 or 11 and they didn't show up till like 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, and I'm like, damn, these people have just been standing here for hours and they wait for them. And I'm like, I don't know. It is what it is. So let's get out of the community section of Baltimore and let's kind of get into let's talk some TV stuff, some TV news.
Ooh, let's do it.
So we are going to do a review, but there's some great information that just dropped this week. A couple articles. I think Zach's going to take the first one.
Yeah, so let's talk about some WandaVision and actually more in particular, the Agatha Coven of Chaos new series we're going to be getting on Disney Plus later this year. So, or later this year, later next year.
Next year. Yeah.
So Aubrey Plaza, who's currently starring in season 2 of HBO's The White Lotus, and you might also know her from Parks and Rec, has been tapped. Oh, and Legion as well, right? Another comic book show there has been tapped for a role opposite Catherine Hahn and Joe Locke in Agatha Coven of Chaos, Marvel's upcoming WandaVision spinoff series for Disney Plus. Details about Plaza's role are being kept under wraps, but is she believed to be playing a villain opposite Hahn and Locke? A rep for Marvel declined to comment. Hahn is reprising her role as WandaVision bad gal Agatha in the series. Emma Caulfield Ford is also set to reprise the role of Dottie from WandaVision. Which, I'm going to be honest, I read this article and I was like, who the fuck was Dottie? Like, I mean, that's how much WandaVision didn't, like, I won't really go back and watch it. I will say the Agatha's role, Agatha and Monica Rambeau were probably two of the best things. And like Sword and honestly, like kind of fleshing out like a little bit more there was the best thing about WandaVision.
Yeah.
So it should be good, man. I mean, what are your thoughts? What are you hoping to see from this? What are you afraid of seeing from this?
Let's kind of talk about like who do you think is she going to be playing? Like obviously we're talking wizards, we're talking we're talking the wizards, like we're talking spells, we're talking magic. Obviously there's a lot of big Marvel villains, like magical users. Everything from like Mephisto, Blackheart, Dormammu, like things that we've already seen, things that we're getting. Who do we think she's going to play? Like what female villainous magic user is in the Marvel universe?
It still hasn't been around. I don't know. It's tough. And to be honest, first off, it's weird that Agatha, this speaks to Catherine Hahn's portrayal of Agatha Harkness, that it was so like, people loved it so much that she got her own spinoff. Because if you would have asked me like 10 years ago, Agatha Harkness, I'm like, dude, who the fuck? Like, no, like she's barely ever around in the comics. She really hasn't played like a big role. So I don't know. I'm trying to think like who even really like she deals with magic users in the Marvel universe. I don't know, dude. I got no guess. I mean, I can think of like, obviously this is more of a mutant type character, but you've got Selene, like the kind of like the vampire villain, part of the Hellfire Club. Which now that I say that, I'm sure it's not who this is going to be, but that would be an awesome character. Plus I love Aubrey Plaza. So, dude, I don't know. I don't have any guesses. You?
The only thing I could think of, I mean, they've used the character, but Morgan Le Fay.
How have they used her?
Runaways.
Oh yeah, but that's not really in the.
I know it's not like in the Marvel MCU, but
yeah, Morgan Le Fay for sure. It definitely could be one. I mean, that'd be cool, and you get some Arthurian legend type stuff in there as well. Yeah, I guess. I don't know, dude. I honestly. I have no idea. But maybe it'll be an all new character.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll make someone up for her. That's the question too, is what's Agatha Harkness's role kind of going to be? Obviously, she was the antagonist in WandaVision for the most part, but she's not typically a bad guy in the comics. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Like, you're right. Like, do they bring you a brand new character who hasn't been in anything, or even something like, and I know this is way too new and I don't think they would do anything like this, like something at a Strange Academy, but those characters are younger, like Zoe and,
Ooh, okay. I got one. What if, so obviously we're seeing more like magic supernatural, right? And then hopefully we're going to get even more. So like this is a good opportunity to start like, kind of like growing that genre in the MCU. What if you had her even portray someone like Lilith from like Midnight Suns, and then you can kind of start getting into more Ghost Rider type stuff. Obviously, I'm always wanting to try to find a way to get back to Ghost Rider, but I mean, Lilith is a big supernatural type character. There is a lot of, I don't know if this was confirmed or not, and you never know, and I won't believe it till I see it. Obviously, about Mephisto and Sacha Baron Cohen talking about playing Mephisto. So we're kind of getting into that realm of like the hell and the demonic type characters. So maybe Lilith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that's a good way to just like start the Johnny Blaze era, or like even open up more of like the horror side, right? Because we just had the whole Werewolf by Night stuff, Man Thing, Elsa. So yeah, I could see that. I like where you're going with that. So it's an idea. Obviously, it's like they said, it's under wraps. No one's going to say anything, but she's pretty hot. I could see her being someone definitely in the MCU, and it's got to be a villain, so it's got to be someone big enough to go against her. And then, like you said, like who would have thought like we would have seen a spin-off show like from this? Like,
what do you think though? So I mean, we always talk about this, about how you hate comedy and you're like just the grumpiest human who doesn't like to laugh. And so,
of course, I love comedy, dude. I go to like comedy shows here in New Jersey all the time. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But like, this is definitely going to be kind of a comedic show for sure. I mean, Catherine Hahn is a comedic actress.
Yes.
And so is Aubrey Plaza for the most part as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. She has some like serious roles here and there, but she's definitely leans a little bit more towards the comedic realm. So yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. Is it going to be comedy? And if so, are we going to like it? I don't know, dude.
I don't know. I think it could have like the Werewolf by Night vibe. Yeah, like it's got to have like a witch cult thing, so it has to be serious. Like I feel like you dip your toes into the river of horror. It can't be comedy. Like it needs to have
bloody,
like
bro. It's got to be bloody.
Yeah, I mean, obviously where Agatha came from was funny, haha, like, but where she is as far as like a character itself, like you need to be able to show that side of her and that side of the MCU that is there, like, right? Like,
right.
I feel like we saw a little bit of that in the latest Doctor Strange movie. So like we've already kind of seen that. Like, let's bring that now to like the small screen and do it on a smaller scale. Like I just said, like Disney Plus. So
agreed. So side note, since we're kind of talking about spinoffs of WandaVision, it also was recently announced that a second spinoff series kind of more centered on Paul Bettany's The Vision is also in development, titled Vision Quest. So
yes,
we're talking like White Vision and everything like that. So obviously WandaVision, it struck some chords in terms of planting the seed for the MCU. Whether we liked it or not, it definitely did some things that we're going to see moving forward. So I'm excited, man. I mean, we always say it, dude. The more stuff coming to the screen. I mean, I always go back to like, the early 2000s. And like, would we have ever thought we were going to have anything like this? Seeing these characters, Agatha Harkness, come on, man, hell yeah!
Oh, please, no, absolutely not.
Shit like this. So I'm for it. We'll watch it, and I'll always root it on. Never going to be the hater until the end. So.
Oh, true. But I mean, like even now, like we thought we were going to love like She-Hulk, and then obviously it's at the end. So we won't know until it happens. But again, we're not haters on anything until we see it. So, but let's kind of get out of the Marvel side. Let's kind of flip on to the DC side. So it was just announced literally yesterday on November 2nd that the Sandman Netflix series is being renewed for season 2. So this is coming over at variety.com. So the time is not up for Sandman. We are getting more episodes of Neil Gaiman's DC Comics series. Basically, Neil Gaiman said a continuation of the Sandman world, which is going to expand in the next episodes. Episode count and story details are still being kept under wraps, even though millions and millions of people have watched and welcomed and loved the Sandman on Netflix from established fans. People were simply curious and want to become more obsessed with the Lord of Dreams, his family, and their ongoing. So, yeah, man. I mean, we got to see a little bit, right, of the other Endless family members, but it was just like a tease. So, I mean, they have to bring back like a season two, right? It was just inevitable. I know you and I spoke about this, that the episodes are very CGI heavy. Like it's
Right.
still an expensive episode series to make, but man, like it's such a great series, and I've started rewatching it recently, and I'm just like still in awe of like how great it was to be able to, see something that I've never read, I've heard about, but I was actually like enjoying it like the entire way through. And we always shit on like not really shit on like the DC EU, and then obviously some of us don't like the Marvel stuff, but man, this was just an amazing show. So I'm so happy that they're bringing this back for season two. And over on Twitter they said that of course nothing no more than people are happier obviously than the cast and crew. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on season two of this?
Oh man, I mean, yeah, like you said, dude, I was surprised how much I really enjoyed this. Like never having read it before, I thought it was really, really awesome. But it did look expensive. So I mean, and that was that fear right out the gate. And Netflix isn't known for keeping their shows around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And not to go on like a tangent, but I just to kind of touch on this as well, is that Netflix kind of has this, they do their shows primarily in like seasons of like 3-year deals, 3-season deals. And then after season 3, it's kind of like the time where they readjust and change pay. And that's kind of what's happening with The Witcher and Henry Cavill. And obviously we'll talk about Cavill a little bit more later, maybe. But so you always wonder with Netflix that it's probably just safe to assume you're getting 3 seasons and that's it. So
yeah,
I don't know, dude. I'm excited. I want to see more. It was really cool. Like you said, I want to see more of the family. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for never having read it. And yeah, I'm there for it. I'm there for it.
Yeah, in the article it talks about how the Sandman was on the global top 10 for 7 weeks after its premiere, and dethroning Stranger Things at the number 1 spot. So
Wow.
Hell, for 7 weeks in a row, in the middle of the summer, and of course taking out Stranger Things, which is obviously Netflix's like biggest thing.
Right.
Hell, like you could see like people were constantly watching it and they want more. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that now, hey, it's like, oh, it got renewed for season 2. Let me go back and actually check this out, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that just didn't check it out for that reason. But perfect time to go back and watch it if you have not. Zach and I reviewed it a while ago. We both thoroughly enjoyed the series. There was really nothing too bad about it. I recall. I don't think you and I really had any main complaints about it. But yeah, go back and watch it if you have not checked out Sandman on Netflix, so you can prepare yourself at some point for when Morpheus comes back. And I know a lot of those, some of the actors and actresses with that were at New York Comic-Con that Saturday that I was, and obviously at that point they did have no idea where they were going to be. So
that's so weird, right?
Yeah, I know. It's tough. It's tough when you show up like a little bit after a series is premiered and you have no idea like what's the future. Like typically a lot of these shows, they're already like renewed for like the next season. And you're like, all right, at least you're like, all right, at least I'm good for a season 2. I'm sure like that was the question around that, asking the actors or actresses like, oh, you come back for a season 2? Is there a season 2? And you never know. So
all right. No, I was just gonna say I'm pumped for it, man. I really am. I think it was great. It was a surprise hit. Surprise for me, because like you and I both said, neither one of us ever read the Sandman stuff. So like I want more for sure.
Definitely. So let's kind of keep with our TV talk. Just released last week, the 6-episode one shot, I guess you want to call it, Tales of the Jedi on Disney Plus. It's so crazy. Like it was released on Wednesday morning, and normally on Star Wars stuff, I'm immediately waking up early to watch it. And I didn't. I ended up watching it Wednesday night, and then I ended up watching it again in Baltimore and again this week. So I've now watched it 3 times. 6 episodes. Dave Filoni, again, taking the helm, the great master that he is, the great master Jedi, I guess you would say. But man, Tales of the Jedi, we're going to be spoiling it. 6 episodes. It's great. It was they're only like 15 to 17 minutes, 18 minutes long. So it's like a 2-hour runtime if you literally sat through it the entire way. I mean, the fact that the first time I watched it, and there's a part in one of the episodes, and I was just like, and I'm literally like yelling like a kid, and I'm like, oh my God. And my wife's just like, what are you doing? What nerd thing is on? And I was like, oh, you wouldn't understand. So,
well, now I'm curious what part it was.
That part is when Ahsoka is training and you see young Kanan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That was cool. That was
that
really
was
cool.
definitely like an oh my god Easter egg moment,
Yeah,
basically. But yeah, so we'll very quickly kind of go through the episodes. Life and Death is the Ahsoka's birth, and you kind of get to see her, basically just being born and having these Force abilities. The Justice episode, of course, Count Dooku and a very young, Count Dooku, yes, and a very young Padawan, Qui-Gon. Number 3, obviously called Choices. You had Qui-Gon and Count Dooku and Mace Windu dealing with a little bit of a investigation. The Sith Lord, Count Dooku and his kind of turn to the dark side.
yeah.
Issue 5, or episode 5, I should say. Practice makes perfect. Ahsoka's just vigorous training to prepare herself for the future. And then issue, I keep saying issue, goddamn.
Well, it's a comic book.
Episode, I know. Episode 6, Resolve, the post Clone Wars era with Ahsoka, aka Ashla, and what she's doing. So, Zach, out of those 6 episodes, what kind of like, what were some pros, some cons, any flaws in it? What were your favorite parts? What were some, parts maybe you didn't like?
So, I mean, episode 1 was the lamest for sure. Not to say it was bad. It was just the lamest one. I think the highlight for me, I loved episodes 2, 3, and 4. All the Count Dooku stuff was amazing because it's always kind of bugged me that you had this character of Count Dooku, right? Who we don't see till episode 2. And he's already established, like people know who he is. Like he comes into it, he's a master Jedi, but you never hear about him before. And then all of a sudden Maul's gone and he's now the new Sith Lord apprentice. That always didn't really sit well with me. Like, how did he get there? Where's he been? Where's the fall? Right. I mean, that's the really interesting thing about Jedis that go Sith is you want to see the fall. Right. So that's what I really liked about those 3 episodes was kind of a highlight on his mindset. And you can tell like right out the gate with Qui-Gon and when they were on that farm with the senator's kidnapped son and like fighting those dudes, like he's force choking people. I mean,
Yep.
he's hard, and then I loved it, episode 3 with Choices, and it shows the dichotomy between Dooku and Mace Windu. And bro, Mace Windu is lame as fuck, man. Like just like such a stickler for the rules, like it's such a chode. And
Well, that's why he's on the Jedi Council,
right?
That's pretty much most of them are. They're obviously straight and narrow. There's no like away from the path, and we always hear about that in the movies. How that's kind of why Qui-Gon was never on the Council, and how the Count Dooku wishes that he had him. He always says that line. He says that line in episode 2 where he's like, "Oh, I wish Qui-Gon was here with me now. I could really use his help," because Qui-Gon. Is probably someone who again disagreed with the Jedi Council and would have seen all this, and I think it would have been a different turn of events.
Yeah, and then obviously episode 4 where you see Yaddle and you see Dooku kind of like fully commit to becoming like a Sith Lord, and I loved how it was. It really kind of it came off of his love for Qui-Gon as well. Like I thought that shit was really strong, where he kind of breaks because of Qui-Gon's death in a way. Like because he felt like the Jedi that was like the final straw. The Jedi Council let down Qui-Gon, he died, and that was it. And so then he made his move, and obviously it didn't really work out too well for Yaddle. And bro, Yaddle's haircut, dude, that shit's garbage, man. We were talking about that on Lords, I think, as well this past week, but really loved the Dooku stuff. I would love to see more, but I imagine that's probably the most we're gonna get. I don't really know how much more you would really tell, but
well, I mean, you just go to different characters.
Yeah,
and obviously you could do more of like Mace Windu. Like if they just kept it like how this was. So it was 6 episodes. You do another 6 episodes. Maybe there's like a storyline of Mace, and then maybe there's a storyline of like even like Rex, because like. Rex you always see with Anakin, but you don't really get to see anything else, him and his brothers. So like there's a way that you could do a dichotomy between like the Jedi and the clones would be interesting. So
I'd actually like to see them move. I'm so sorry, we're getting into
no, go ahead.
First, well, I was I'd like to see them move away from. It's awesome, but this Clone Wars era. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like it's
well, that's where Dave Filoni is like made his name. So I get it.
Like we can move a little bit further. It'd be really cool to see some of these episodes of like even like the stuff that's covered in the comic books in between like the original trilogy, something like that, where you get the Luke and the Han and Leia, like cover some of that stuff would be cool. Even post Return of the Jedi, in between Mandalorian, in between even maybe further down the road, which maybe they don't want to like step on right now, but I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more outside the Clone Wars at this point.
Yeah, I guess it's because they really are tiptoeing post
Right.
Return of the Jedi.
They don't want
because
to cut themselves off and like from
yeah,
future stories. Yeah.
yeah, it's tough to see where they're going to go because they don't know, what they're going to use down the line. They want to make sure everything is set in canon. So like everything
Right.
that Filoni does in that Clone Wars era is fine because it's used for future references. So
Yeah.
but for myself, I'll kind of go through my my favorite episodes. Of course, like you said, yeah, like one is kind of lame. I did get like a heartwarming feeling like when the animal, that tiger looking thing, like brings back Ahsoka, and like they have that first interaction where Ahsoka kind of sticks its hand out to the animal, and it's kind of just like a surreal moment. Like it's a very calm, it's a very like Zen moment, and you really do feel that the Jedi have that ability. They have that ability to kind of look into the eyes of animals, and like Ezra had that. Like he was able to control some of the creatures, obviously in Star Wars Rebels. But yeah, definitely Justice. The second episode was great. You really get to see a lot more Dooku. Of course, I have to put it practice makes perfect episode is definitely the number one for me. Just her Jedi training and how, again, like Anakin even says to her, yeah, you can go against battle droids all you want, but they're very predictable, and I'm your master and I want to protect you. And just the relentless onslaught of the clones, like, it reminds me of like, actual live action, like war movies. Like you really get that whole dichotomy of like, it's practice makes perfect. That's really what they do. Like, you constantly are vigorous training, and she is literally nonstop. And
it did give me chills when it showed that scene where she walks, she's walking out with Rex leading her out, like that we saw in the 7th season of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Right before, like that gave me chills. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
When you really want to go back and watch it, yeah.
Right? Yeah, because I think Rex says, "I hope all that training paid off."
Right.
And it's good because you also get to see her growth, like because you see her in different uniforms, costumes, whatever you want to call it, more uniforms, obviously. But you see the change, you see her age in that episode, and then of course, yeah, like you said, it's that ending of season 7 with Rex and her, and then yeah, the Resolve episode is great. You get your first appearance of an Inquisitor pre Star Wars Rebels.
He looked cool too.
Yeah. Obviously no name. Obviously no like brother. It had to be one of the brothers because obviously it was a male character. But the only thing I didn't like, and this is for more people that have obviously read the Ahsoka trade paperback, or not trade paperback, but the actual novel, is they do kind of, obviously it is true where her name is Ashla, that's kind of correct, but like where she goes to that farm, that's kind of like taken out of context because there's a little bit more that goes on in that that time frame. Like that obviously doesn't happen for verbatim in a way. So that's the only thing I didn't like about it. I mean, I get how like it was great because you get to see the novel come to life because of like the name, and even before that, like when she goes to Padme's funeral, she kind of tells, basically says, I'm no longer a Jedi. And obviously, what's his name? The Alderaan guy.
Oh shit. Leia.
Organa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he said, oh, you could always call on me for help, basically. And that's always great because, you get to obviously see him in Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. So that's always like a running thing with that character. But yeah, Tales of the Jedi was absolutely amazing. It was the first, I know Rotten Tomatoes had like 100%. It was wild right off the bat, which is crazy. So really excited that they did that and they dropped all the episodes. So again, if you have not had a chance to check out that prequel era with Ashley Eckstein coming back and voicing Ahsoka Tano and of course Count Dooku, and everybody came back. Matt Latner came back. Again,
Liam Neeson
was in there.
Neeson's son did the younger Qui-Gon.
Yeah, That was really interesting as well. And then even you had like you said, Liam Neeson, and then what's her name? Bryce Dallas Harper, who obviously director, actress, she was the one who voiced Yaddle, and that episode was great too. I know we talk about her as a director in Mandalorian and some of the stuff for Book of Boba Fett. So yeah, it was interesting. And she even had a line too that she's like, I don't agree with the council, whether she was lying just to get Dooku to come out, or if that really was true.
Yeah.
But because she knew too much at that point. So
yeah. She's because she was there when Qui-Gon came to like first give his report during Phantom Menace time, and after first interacting with Maul, and she didn't agree with them, the council kind of like sidelining him, so to speak. And then she saw what happened. Obviously, she cared about Qui-Gon as well. But she's like, look, man, I don't agree with these dudes, but we're not going full dark side here. Like, what's up, bro? Crazy?
Yeah. So yeah, very interesting. And you know who I like? And I like when I go around and I look and see who the actors or actresses that have like played the characters. So the character who plays Ahsoka's mom is the same character who plays Eden Versio. If you've ever played Star Wars Battlefront 2, did you ever play the Battlefront 2 storyline?
Once, like only briefly.
Okay, so Janina, what's her name? Janina Gavin something. I can't think of her full last name, but she plays Eden Versio, the female like main character of that storyline. And actually, speaking of her, she actually just had her first cover appearance on a book this week from Star Wars Bounty Hunters. So that's why that just kind of brought, I remembered that. So, it's cool that they bring people back. Like, obviously, even like, now we're going off on a tangent, but like Sam Whitner was one of the shore troopers in like 2 weeks ago's episode of Andor. Did you know that? Yeah. I found that out. So like when before he's like arrested, and like that one shore trooper is like, what are you doing? Like, where are you going?
But yeah, you couldn't see him because he was fully.
Yeah, but he voices that. That's the voice actor for that. So yeah, it's cool how they always bring back people that have done stuff for Star Wars.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait till two more episodes and we get to talk about Andor.
Yeah, Andor is going to be, it's crazy, and every episode has been getting high reviews, and I can't wait to see how this season 1 is going to end, because season 2 is going to go so fast.
Yeah, my God, how many? I'm looking right now.
12
episodes.
12 episodes is 1 year, and then the next season, every 3 episodes is 1 year in basically leading up to Rogue One.
Real time.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
So great stuff coming out of the TV, and our review for Tales of the Jedi. Like we said, go ahead and check out Tales of the Jedi. Go ahead and check out Sandman if you haven't. But let's kind of go over to our comic book talk. Not too much is going on in the world of comics this week. Couldn't really find too much good articles, but we got something for you. Yeah. Marvel is already talking about this, and it's crazy. Like, we're already talking about May of 2023. We're talking about Free Comic Book Day. So Marvel teases its Free Comic Book Day titles for New Avengers and the X-Men team. So there's 4 titles that we're going to be talking about. Zach's going to take 2. I'm going to take 2. You can go over and check this out at cbr.com. Zach, why don't you tell us about our first Free Comic Book Day from Marvel?
Yeah, so like Justin said, Marvel 2023 Free Comic Book Day, which is going to kick off on May 6th. And the first title we're going to talk about is Avengers and X-Men #1. So it sets the stage for the Fall of X, which we kind of talked about, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
A new X-Men event announced at New York Comic-Con that could bring about the end of the mutant kind's Krakoan age. Marvel teased the issue features a pair of all new stories that set the stage for the next evolution in mutant adventures, Fall of X, and introduces an uncanny new lineup for a new team book launching next year, plus a preview of Jonathan Hickman and Valerio Scheide's upcoming mystery project. So the cover is pretty cool. I'm looking at it right now, and you've got kind of a mashup of some Avengers and X-Men characters. Obviously, you got Cap right on the front. You've got Penance. You've got Quanon, the Psylocke character, Quicksilver, Deadpool. It looks like you've got Rogue, and then you also got Cyclops' character, Mr. Krakoa, or it's like an alternate identity he uses when like the world finds out that he's like dead. It's kind of like to protect him. I think it's Mr. Krakoa. I don't even think they use it anymore, but that's what it looks like. That's what the costume is. But
yeah,
really cool little mashup. It's kind of reminds me of the did you ever read Uncanny Avengers, where they kind of mix the two teams together for a little while? Yeah, kind of reminds me of that. So It should be cool. I'm obviously Fall of X. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm scared as well. Scared
Yeah,
what they're going to do.
definitely. I know we briefly talked about it for our events for 2022 and 2023 for Marvel. So next up, another thing that we briefly talked about introducing at New York Comic-Con. So they're doing a Spider-Man / Venom #1. Of course, gets fans ready for Summer of Symbiotes. We all know what we talked about. It's launching in 2023, starring Carnage, Venom, Red Goblin, and more of a bunch of new symbiotes. Marvel teased it, or is going to be teasing it for 2023 in this one shot. It's got some stuff going on with Zeb Wells and John Romita Jr. Hit the run of Amazing Spider-Man and lay the groundwork for the Summer of Symbiotes, plus a preview of Marvel's new epic just on the horizon. So again, not too much on this, but again, Summer of Symbiotes, we kind of talked about it. There's a slew of symbiotes right now, and even this week, they kind of, if you read the Deadpool #1, they had like a hybrid. They're creating another hybrid Carnage through Deadpool. I'm not even really going to get into it, but you can't have Deadpool without having some type of Carnage or Venom looking thing. So next up, what's the third title we got?
So the third one we have is Marvel Voices #1. And on the cover, you have Miles Morales, Black Panther, Monica Rambeau, America Chavez, Shang-Chi, Storm, and more. The publisher said the issue invites readers to the groundbreaking and critically acclaimed Marvel's Voices series, which spotlights creators and characters across Marvel's diverse and ever-evolving universe. The book will include a range of stories from previous Marvel Voices issues, as well as a brand new one. So, look, the Marvel's Voices stuff, that's cool. Obviously, you're trying to branch out into different communities and get them interested. But after just reading this, the book will include a range of stories from previous Marvel's Voices issues, as well as a brand new one. So it's all old shit and then one brand new story. I don't know. Probably will be passing on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be weird. But I mean, they've been doing a lot of these voices every June. Typically, the identities, the voices. So it definitely gives like a front and center for a lot of these characters who don't have storylines, and it always introduces like a first appearance for some new character. So it's always good to see. It's always good to see that in the Marvel Voices. And I typically kind of read them every now and then. Like there's ones that are good, there's ones that are bad, but it's good to have different storylines in there. So we'll see what happens for that. And then last but not least, for the kids, Spidey and Friends, aimed, of course, at your younger readers. You got the fan favorites, of course, Spider-Man, Ghost Spider, and Miles facing off against Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and some more for that, basic, who knows, that 5 to 7 year old. So if you got some kids, at least Marvel's giving you the younger stuff. So that's your top 4 books coming out. And I'm sure one of these books is going to have like a 1 in 500, right? Ratio variant like they did this year.
Right. What was it? The Axe? It was
the Axe for that had the first appearance of Blade's daughter. Yeah. So like that book is like insane right now.
Yep. So I mean, keep an eye out on these free comic book days. Always, like Justin said, have some kind of a first appearance on them. So
yeah, I'm thinking that Avengers one is definitely going to be the one to have, and it'll be who knows what specific it'll be, but we'll definitely have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, good stuff coming out for it's crazy. We're in November and we're talking about books for May, but we try to get you in early, right? So what to look for. So, next up, of course, what are we currently reading?
Oh man, dude, I'm interested to see what you say, because I still have 2 books I haven't read yet. And I really think one of them might have showed up on my list today. But why don't you start off? Because I don't even know what I got.
Is it like a hard garbage or?
No. Well, so the 2 books I haven't read this week I picked up Hell to Pay #1 by Charles Soule and Rosenberg, and then I also picked up the Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo. But I haven't read it yet, and I really, really want to. I was hoping you read it.
Okay.
Did you read that one?
I did.
Okay.
And I will be talking about it.
I knew you sandbagging son of a bitch. I knew.
Goddamn right, I'm going to be talking about it.
Good. That makes me excited to read it then. So, okay. Well, why don't you lead off, because I don't know which book yet I want to.
Yeah, sure. So, I only got 2 books this week. So, honorable mention, and a book that we talked about a long time ago, getting ready, was Marvel's Tiger Division. The new squad far out west. You got Mr. Enigma, the General, Gunnar, right? Taiguchi, Luna Snow and White Fox. I mean, I'm a big fan just for the Luna Snow and the amazing art germ cover. Gorgeous looking cover. But, it's kind of like the Far East through South Korean characters defending basically that area of the world. It's almost like their Justice League in the Marvel universe for that area. But, it was a good introductory issue if you don't know any of these characters. It's a good little jumping on point. I don't know if this is an ongoing series or mini series specifically, but, I like I said, I like Luna Snow. I like White Fox. Taiguchi, he got introduced in like that Taskmaster miniseries.
Yeah.
And then the other characters kind of were introduced in the that Black Cat annual. That's how the Tiger Division started. So, interesting stuff. Again, if you want something different that's not mainstream, I think it's a good little read. So kind of just my honorable mention there. But yeah, like you said, like I have to talk about this. Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, Black Label from DC Comics. So, man, Mark Silvestri just crushed the art on this. Like, I was like skeptical, from the cover. Like, I wasn't a really big fan of the cover, but man, the interiors are, it's pretty wild. Like his Harley Quinn in the book, Batman, Joker. You get to see Catwoman briefly. It's great. He writes it and he's doing the art as well. So, it's basically like it is. It sets up somehow that Batman and Joker have to work together because something has happened, and Joker kind of holds someone as collateral. And I think I'm guessing like it's Harley. Like I guess that's what they have to team up to get Harley back, but it's not specific. But I love how like anybody who writes Batman like knows how to write Batman. Like Batman is just such a character. Like he's a detective, he's a fighter. He's probably one of the best characters that inner monologue like you can write about. I feel like with any character, any other character, it's very tough to have like an inner monologue speak, like word bubbles that are just like floating that are not, out loud. But yeah, this first issue was absolutely amazing. And then just like little things that happen in Gotham. Like I said, like Catwoman shows up very briefly, but it's not even like an interaction with anything. She's literally just there because she sees like Batman from afar, and she's just like, she sees like the bat symbol, and basically it's just like kind of like a one-off, like a tease. It's just like, well, it looks like Gotham's like heading for like a terrible night or whatever, and she's like, I'm out, like basically. But like she doesn't have that interaction with anybody. She's just like talking to herself out loud or like to the cats that are around her. But I just love how like you can just kind of include these characters and it's fine. Like they do that even with like villains. Like sometimes they're in Arkham and you just kind of hear them talk, but it's like so great to see them in like an issue where they may not play any type of role. Like maybe we'll see Catwoman down the line. Maybe we'll see Poison Ivy, but obviously the storyline is going to be driven around Batman and Joker. But yeah, definitely pick of the week if you did not pick it up. It's always tough to not put a Batman book. Like,
yeah, I mean they crush, man. Even what was it, Batman 128 that just came out?
Oh yeah,
this week was good as well. So
yeah. It was pretty wild. So, what about you, man? What did you what do you got?
Had a pretty good week. I wouldn't say anything like really jumped to the forefront for me, but the two issues I really liked a lot was I'm just loving the Punisher ongoing, Jason Aaron's Punisher, and I love how it's kind of blending over to the Daredevil Chip Zdarsky run as well. They're kind of intertwined. It's just really neat, and we talked about this kind of. I mean, I feel like I keep saying this whenever I talk about Punisher, but we've been talking about Punisher since the first season of the show. Like maybe like the first 10 episodes, we were talking about the change in Punisher and how you had to do something new with the Punisher and shake it up. And damn, Jason Aaron did it. And it's way different, and it's really cool. If you're a Punisher fan, don't let the emblem and the loss of that throw you off, because you got to read it. It's really, really good. So just the stuff with that, I've really enjoyed. And like I said, you should also be reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil at the same time, because they cross over a lot. So that was really good. The issue, though, I think I really liked the most this week was X-Men Red #7, I believe it was. We're kind of at the Judgment Day is over. The Axe series is over, Judgment Day, and we're seeing kind of some storylines that have like played out throughout this Reign of X, Dawn of X storylines that are kind of coming to fruition. And it's very interesting, actually, with Abigail Brand kind of being in the spotlight with Amelia Clark possibly be playing Abigail Brand. She is playing a big role in X-Men Red and possibly doing some shady shit. And Cable is kind of putting together a team that's going up against her. And the return of Vulcan as the Vulcan we knew, as Emperor Vulcan, is kind of kicked off in this issue. It's really, really cool. And I cannot wait to see where it goes. Honestly, reading this issue, I was like, holy shit, I can't wait to go back. Now I want to go back and read War of Kings. I want to read my omnibuses about War of Kings and get all the Vulcan storyline again. But damn, man, really good stuff. I really liked X-Men Red #7 this week. And like I said, I picked up, I went to the shop today to pick up a couple straggler issues, and I got this Hell to Pay #1 by Charles Soule, and it might be Rochelle Rosenberg as the colorist. I'm excited to read this. I really like Charles Soule, so maybe you'll hear me talk about it next week.
Did you, by any chance, pick up the Secret Invasion #1?
I didn't. You know what? I'm gonna read it online.
Okay.
I'm trying to, honestly. I'm cutting. I got to cut back on some of my books, bro. And these little I don't have a lot of faith in Marvel's miniseries. And when you redo like a Secret Invasion,
of
course, I can tell you it's going to be bullshit. It's going to be complete bullshit. So
it's just to get people who never read the original Secret Invasion, just to get them ready for Secret Invasion, the TV series. Exactly. And I get it. That's a way to push new people who have never read the original series. But if you talk to anybody who's ever read Secret Invasion, they're going to tell you, don't even bother. Just go out and get the original Secret Invasion. I read it at the comic shop. It's okay. I mean, the
art looked weird on the cover, at least.
The interior is fine. Again, it's definitely setting it up. The main, obviously, 3 characters are the Skrulls, Maria Hill, and Nick Fury. Okay. Again, I don't really know where it's going to go. I don't know if it's really like a lead up into. It could be like a lead up into the show, but for anybody who's never read it, Secret Invasion, just go out and find a trade, or just go out and spend the $50 or $60 for the complete set and hold on to it, because it's an absolute great read. So which
Nick Fury? Original Nick Fury or son of Nick Fury? More like
original
MCU Nick Fury. Okay.
Yeah, original Nick Fury. Or no, like MCU version.
Okay, so the son of Nick Fury.
Yeah, yes. Okay. So yeah, it's interesting. But again, I wouldn't go out and purchase the the issues, because I'm just I just don't care.
What the hell, dude? You're talking about TV. You're calling those issues. You're talking about comics, and you're calling them episodes.
Because I got it in my brain. That's how it is.
You got some wires crossed, dog.
Yeah, I'm rocking this iced coffee over here, so I'm just got the jitters because I haven't eaten anything either. Yeah. So yeah, that's our show this week, everybody. Appreciate everybody stopping in to the Comic-Con podcast, season 2, episode 43. Before we close out, anything, Zach, going on for you coming up?
No, I do know that we will be having a special Better Late Than Never bonus episode, Black Adam review. But other than that, for me, nah, man, just chilling, plugging along.
Good to see you on Lords of the Long Box on a weekly basis.
Yes.
One of us is on there.
You can find me Tuesdays on Cover Price Top 10, Lords of the Long Box, if you didn't already know that. Obviously, schedule permitting. I'm in and out. So
yeah, of course. So for myself, if you're listening to this early enough, like I said, this weekend in New Jersey, down in Homedale, the Super Jersey Comic Expo is this weekend, a 1-day show. They did it last year. It was an absolute killer show. This year, I expect the same thing. It's at a great venue down in Homedale. If you can get down there early enough, check it out. Next week, we do have a special guest. So we will be bringing on somebody that I love in the community, someone that I met literally over the past, I'd say, month and a half. Dope guy. And, we'll be bringing him on next week. So that's it for Zach and myself. We'll catch everybody next week. Peace out.
Later.